thank you so much to everybody that came. Really appreciate. We've had a really amazing response to this and a great turnout. So I'm super excited about it. I know our panelists and our special guest attendees are super excited about this. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone in the audience for coming and supporting such an important part of the gaming industry and coming here to celebrate some amazing ladies. So quick business announcements. If you guys have tickets for the event, when we start doing our kind of mingle and meet and greet, if you can give them to me or you can give them to Paul, who's back there in the white shirt, we will be happy to take those pieces of paper off your hands. Okay, so we're going to start out. I'm just going to give everybody just a brief bio of the amazing ladies that we have standing up here, or sitting up here, I guess. And then we'll go into just a couple quick questions, and then we'll proceed into the mingle and meet and greet. You guys can network, meet each other, hang out, make new friends, and pretty much just have fun. So, starting with Sarah Donner. Sarah Donner is a singer and songwriter and cat lady who can't win at Settlers of Catan because of her preoccupation with The Longest Road. She's also never won Ticket to Ride or Machikoro.
No, I have.
Oh,
yeah.
update.
I did.
This one time she almost won an Out Music Award for her song With Pride, but then they canceled the awards ceremony due to an FBI investigation. However, she won the hearts of many cats. Yay. So that's what's important. And next we've got Amanda Valentine. She is a freelance editor and developer. Her work includes the Dresden Files RPG, the Firefly RPG, Urban Shadows, Fate Acceleration Edition, Little Wizards, and many others, including a growing quantity of novels and other fiction. She blogs sporadically at ayvalentine.com about editing, parenting, and gaming, and reads for tweets.com. She writes spoilerific book reviews for adults who care about what the kids in their lives are reading. So thank you so much. And then we've got Jessica Wade. When Jessica got introduced to the world of hobby board gaming just a year ago, she found the niche she'd been looking for, dove right in, and hasn't looked back since. She's currently a co-host on the board gaming podcast, The State of Games, where she has taken over producer and editing responsibilities. She contributes segments to 2 other podcasts, and she's been making the convention circuit this year. This is her first time attending Gen Con. Outside of board gaming, Jessica works as a forensic firearms examiner for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thanks. Next, we've got Jody Wagner. Jody has been an employee at Greater Than Games since 2013 with the title of Shipping Princess. She handles warehousing, shipping, and some logistics. When Jody isn't keeping the warehouse robots in line, she helps edit the Adjacent Hex podcast and is currently working to partner in a new podcast called Roll 2D Queer. She is a proud LGBT woman, spouse, and mom. And Lauren. Lauren just finished her PhD in astronomy and astrophysics at Harvard. And is currently the treasurer of the Game Makers Guild in Boston. In the fall, she'll be teaching physics and astronomy at Grand Rapids Community College. Lauren's 2 science-based games, Stars Inc. and Amino, have been in the Boston Festival of Indie Games Tabletop Showcase, and she's currently working on another game, so keep your eyes peeled. So first things first, I'm just going to have our lovely ladies up here go through and give us a little bit of a background of how they got to be where they are. Oh, I'm sorry, Kat.
I don't know if I sent you anything.
No, you're fine. Stand up, Kat. So Kat is an illustrator and artist. She has worked on things for us, including Spirit Island. She has also done some work for Prettiest Princess Games. And what was the other one?
It's okay. AG, Cryptic
Yeah.
Studio.
So she's
A couple other things
yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
So Kat's really great. She has been a wonderful person to work with personally, and I know that we've gotten a lot of heard a lot of really good things about how fast she works, how efficient she is in her work, and I know that she has got some amazing things coming up in her life right now with moves and everything else. So it's been a little crazy, a little hectic, and we were really glad you could make it.
Thank you.
Okay, So Jessica, if you want to tell us a little bit of how you got to be where you are now and some of the biggest inspirations that you've had in your journey to where you are today.
Okay. Well, like she mentioned, I've only even knew that the world of board gaming, hobby board gaming, a year ago is when I got introduced to it. And I owe my introduction to it to two things. The TV show How I Met Your Mother, best TV show ever, and OkCupid, because I was online dating and I came across a profile that the profile name was Ted Evelyn Mosby, and it was sprinkled with all of these references to How I Met Your Mother, which I love. And the profile was very smart, and the grammar was good, and you could kind of tell he was a little bit of a geek, but not too much. And we ended up meeting and hanging out, and he was a board game publisher, and that was Chris Kirkman. And he didn't evangelize me too hard, but he told me about the hobby, and I thought that was so interesting, and I played games with him, and I just fell in love with the hobby so fast and so hard, and that's really how I got into the hobby. And it's kind of a testament to how just doing everyday life can kind of just change your life. My life has changed so much in the last year just because I went online and met somebody that I met online and had fun with him. He's a great guy, and we're friends now, and it's just been amazing. Just something random happened, and now here I am. So, and he runs a podcast, and he had another female co-host, and she ended up leaving, and I had done a couple of guest spots just on the fly, and so he asked me to be a regular co-host on the show, and so I do that. And then just through Twitter, because the board game community is so strong on Twitter, I made other friends, especially with Brandon, who runs the What Did You Play This Week podcast thing, and I mentioned I would love to do a segment, and he said yes, and so that's how I'm doing the other segment on that show. So just meeting people and just really just mingling and networking with people can just throw you right in, and I'm so happy to be here.
So I'll focus on the gaming part of things, and you're welcome to talk to me about any of the other parts. So my whole family grew up playing games, and not just Monopoly and Risk and whatnot, and my dad says that he stopped letting me win when I was 5. So I've always had a competitive streak, and we have a huge closet full of games at home, and so I was always into them. And so once I had my own place, I started collecting them, and somewhere along the way, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I realized, you know what, I could do this. I know how games work enough that I can start to figure out my own thing, and I wanted to do games that involved science, so real science and not just science fiction. And I'm happy to talk about Stars Inc. is astronomy themed, and it goes all through stellar evolution. And Amino is about collecting molecules to make amino acids in early planetary atmospheres. So super nerdy and awesome. Yeah, along the way, so I was in Boston, and on Meetup I discovered that there was the Game Makers Guild. So if anyone's in the Boston area, definitely talk to me about Game Makers Guild because they're fantastic. There's a couple of other places that are starting to have things like this. Philadelphia has a Game Makers Guild Unit 2, so I can talk to you about that. And just meeting more people. So Game Makers Guild, everyone is designing their own games, and so you come together and play test each other's games and give feedback, and there's like a whole set of playtesting things that you can get into their curation process, and so then you do blind playtesting and intensive playtesting, and I can talk about all of that too in the second part. And so yeah, it's been a great ride, and along the way, got married and got a PhD and moved across the country, and things like that. Yeah, thank you. So, thanks.
Hi, I'm Sarah Donner, and I feel like I'm a little more musician than gamer, but I like to mix it up. I think I started writing music. I went to school for choir, colleges, and musical theater, and I decided at some point I didn't want to audition to make music anymore, and that I just wanted to sing. And so I just started doing that for myself and stopped auditioning for other people to do things, and then I found a community of nerds and gamers where I realized that I could write about the things that I was doing, and that was also appreciated. I think my bigger claim to fame is the motherfucking pterodactyl song that I wrote with the oatmeal. So we met doing a TEDx talk in Princeton, New Jersey, and he didn't. We were doing a thing about the internet and comedy, and he figured I might be worthy to transcribe his comic, The Motherfucking Pterodactyl, and put it to music. So I did that, and that was really good for my website, and that was great. Anyways, so since then I've done a number of things. I did some. If you've watched the Exploding Kittens tutorial on YouTube, I did the music for that. Yeah, it's just, if you just start writing about the things you're passionate about, you'll find an audience wherever you go. And that's what I've done. So, yeah, that's my story. Thank you.
I've been noticing a trend through all of these of just talking about community, and my story is no different, really. What was it, 15 years ago? I was gaming with Cam and Jess Banks.
It's gotta be 16.
Almost. Mary Rose is only 15.
Okay, not till November. Oh, thank God. Like an annual
16 in November.
Yeah.
And Cam was working on Dragonlance, and he had this thing, and he's like, I could use an editor, I think. And I was like, I can do that. And so that's kind of how it got started. And from there, I've done a bunch of different games, and it's just kind of expanded. And it's all been through getting together with people and meeting other people, and it just kind of moves on from there. So I've worked on all kinds of stuff through that. I'm going to be editing the Sentinels: The Multiverse RPG. And also bringing my kids into it as well. There's Mary Rose and Ben in the back, who may or may not need attention. And working in their schools and getting more kids in the area involved in it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I started playing tabletop games, I don't know, like a little over 10 years ago, when like I met like a dude who like was a roommate of one of my friends, and I really started liking RPGs then, and we played like a lot, and then I like moved into his house, and but then like years later he started a board game company, and his name's Christopher Bedell, and he did that with people that you might know. I was being a stay-at-home mom for a bit, and they started needing somebody in the warehouse, and I had a background in shipping, and so I started doing that, and I've learned a lot about that since then. Along the way, I started editing a podcast for a couple of guys that I know. After they started a podcast, after I wanted to start a podcast and didn't do it, and then I'm finally trying to start the podcast now with another Greater Than Gameser, Craig. So that's what brought me here.
I'm Kat Brimlin. I was a magic kid, like every artist out there, right? So after graduating high school, I got a job at the mall, and I worked right outside of a game store. So I used to hang out with them all the time because I had a stupid job. And that was kind of the gateway. I was familiar with some art for Magic the Gathering. I'd never played the game. Working across from a game shop, having a lot of spare time, I started playing Magic and a bunch of all the other games. And I just started college as well at an art school. So I've been playing games through art school. My first time at Gen Con was when it first moved here to Indy, I think back in 2004 or 5.
Four.
I worked at the Wizards of the Coast booth, and it was back when the Star Wars miniatures game was big. So I cosplayed as Darth Talon and like was demoing games. And it was the last year that they gave out like the giant swag bags instead of paying you. Which was actually cool because you got all the promo stuff that didn't come out for 6 months, and nerds love to have their things right away and they'll pay for it. So anybody that did that, back in 2004, thank you for paying college tuition for me. And then since then, I was also involved with a game group that's still going on. It was a Star Wars game group. I played with them I think all the way up till about I graduated college in 2010. And this whole time, every year I came to Gen Con, I was both gaming and GMing and trolling the artist alley, and I made friends with all the artists, and I would tag along with them. and I got to meet a lot of the art directors, and I was a horrible person that was still in school and didn't know that you're supposed to have a nice portfolio to show stuff, so I would just bring like loose actual pieces of artwork, which I don't recommend for anybody. But the artists in the art show are nice, and they will like set you straight really quickly. So yeah, I've been doing that, and then 2 years ago I tried to get into the Gen Con art show for the first time, which was a switch over the jury. I've been lucky enough, this is my second year in the show. And prior to that, I did have like a 2-year hiatus where I was burnt out after school and didn't do anything. It was right after I got my first publication work. Was actually here at Gen Con. I talked to an art director. I was doing a lot of pinup work, and they hired me to do vignettes for, I think it was Heroes or Champions, their villains book. So I did like 26 pieces for them. And yeah, having that experience, and then it's kind of hard to break in a little bit, but kind of once you get your foot in the door and when you're friends with everybody, like it gets a little bit easier. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm starting to move away from the pinup towards my own personal work, and yeah, that's about it.
So, as I'm sure you noticed, one of the big themes that has been mentioned by everyone up here is making sure that you network, making sure that you meet people, make friends, make connections, do whatever you can to just mingle and find people in the industry. If you have something that you love to do and you want to do, just find someone that's done that and ask them a bunch of questions and meet them and meet other people that are doing that. And eventually, I think anyone here can do anything that they want to. So thank you so much, ladies, for telling us your story. I hope that everyone here has some questions for these wonderful women up here. They are here to answer anything that you want to know about the industry, anything you want to know about their life story, their backgrounds, how they got to where they are today. And then we also have 3 other wonderful women up here that you guys want to stand up. So we have Jessica Banks. Hi, Jen's over there. Oh, come on over. There we go, sneaking through. So we've got Jen Ellis, Jessica Banks, Angela, and Aubrey Weber. So these ladies are also here. They are making big movements in the industry, making movements in the music industry, in the RPG industry, gaming industry. They have so much knowledge that they would love to share with all of you guys. So please feel free, ask them any questions, pick everybody's brain up here. That's what we're here to do. Ultimately, our brains are a little mushy, so give us a minute to respond. But we're here for you guys. We're here to answer your questions. Everybody just make friends and have fun. So we're going to move on to the mingling portion of this, the networking part of this, so you guys can all just meet each other, meet, greet, mingle. We're going to have a table over here that's going to have some goodies and giveaways. And it's also going to have a couple signs with some information. Our lovely musicians up here have some upcoming concerts. I encourage that you check those out. We've got Kat and Artist Alley. Jessica's running some.
I'm in the Alice Games booth all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I encourage you guys, even beyond this, make sure that you keep touching base with these guys. They're here to connect with you guys and make sure that you have a great time at Gen Con and that you can continue making your dreams come true like they all have up here. So thank you so much for coming, and we'll get the table set up and you guys can just talk, ask questions, and mingle. Thank you.